Coming up on today's episode of Airborne Unlimited. Pilot still waiting for feds to intervene and return his hostage plane. Court dismisses Top Gun Maverick copyright claim. 150-plus aircraft involved in U.S. raid on Venezuela. Welcome to Airborne Unlimited. I'm your host, Holland Lee. Let's get into today's stories. Pilot still waiting for feds to intervene and return his hostage plane. New year, same problem for Minnesota pilot Darren Smedsmo, whose 1946 Stinson 108 remains as a hostage on tribal land months after an engine failure forced an emergency landing. Federal agencies have yet to step in. Smedsmo was en route to Bemidji for flight training when his engine suffered a catastrophic failure over the Red Lake Indian Reservation and forced him to land on Minnesota Highway 1. He and his plane got on the ground unscathed, and a witness helped tow the plane off the roadway. Shortly after, however, the Red Lake Nation seized and impounded the aircraft. Tribal officials cited a 1978 resolution that they claim gives them jurisdiction over airspace up to 20,000 feet above reservation land. The tribe argued that the landing was unauthorized and raised safety and liability concerns even if it occurred during an emergency. Aviation organizations have since escalated the matter to the U.S. DOT and the Department of the Interior. They also point out that emergency landings are explicitly protected under federal aviation regulations. An initial tribal court hearing was scheduled, but it was later canceled. Smedsmo is not backing down. To fuel his efforts, attorney Eric Cardall established a legal defense fund and a nonprofit effort in hopes of both reuniting the plane with its pilot and driving forward legislation clarifying protections for emergency landings on tribal land. After the break, Parachutist Armed Forces Bowl entry goes sideways.
It's time to upgrade your power plant to the first FAA-certified clean sheet engine design in over 60 years. Delta Hawk's jet fuel-powered liquid-cooled turbocharged engine produces turbine performance at 40% better fuel efficiency of typical reciprocating engines, while also achieving exceptional reliability and significant reduction in cost of ownership. Reserve your engine package today at deltahawk.com.
Looking for a new generation of proven and efficient aviation power plants that boast modern engineering, electronic ignition, and both direct and gear drive systems? With 100 horsepower to 240 horsepower, the Skyline and Redline engines offer uncommon value in an overpriced industry. Whether you are looking for fixed wing or rotor, MW Fly Americas has been established to service the American market with dedication and expertise. MWFlyAmericas.com.
Welcome back. Now let's take a trip around the patch for some shorter stories. Parachutist Armed Forces Bowl entry goes sideways. The Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl had an even more attention-grabbing start than planned, with one of 5 parachutists getting tangled in the field goal netting at Amon G. Carter Stadium. He briefly dangled above the field before falling an estimated 35 feet to the turf, walking it off, and letting the game kick off without further issue. The jump team, dubbed the All-Veteran Group, was scheduled to land on the field ahead of the Rice-Texas State matchup. Pentagon moves to cut Senator Mark Kelly's retirement rank and pay. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and the Pentagon have initiated proceedings to demote Senator Mark Kelly from retired Navy captain and former NASA astronaut to a lower rank with a corresponding reduction in pay. He also issued a secretarial letter of censure, which would stand as a written reprimand but have no practical consequences for the Arizona Democrat. Hegseth said, quote, "The department has initiated retirement grade determination proceedings under 10 U.S.C. Section 1370F, with reduction in his retired grade resulting in a corresponding reduction in retired pay," end quote. Airbus expected to pass revised 2025 delivery target by a hair. Some technical issues led Airbus to revise its 2025 commercial aircraft delivery target. That update turned out to be just right, with pre-audit estimates predicting roughly 793 handovers for the year, passing the new figure by just 3 aircraft. The manufacturer stepped into 2025 with a more ambitious delivery goal of 820 aircraft. However, a software flaw with thousands of A320 family aircraft gave it a reality check, leading it to step down to 790. Even so, Airbus's performance keeps it steadily in position as the world's largest aircraft manufacturer. Salt Lake City Airport sued 2 years after fatal ramp accident. The Salt Lake City International Airport is being sued. The case alleges that the airport failed to take responsible steps to prevent unauthorized individuals from entering protected areas or to promptly notify authorities during security breaches. Kyler Effinger was a 30-year-old Park City resident diagnosed with bipolar disorder. On January 1, 2024, just before 10 p.m., Effinger managed to exit the terminal through an emergency door that led directly onto the airport ramp. Effinger suffered blunt force trauma after climbing into an A220's engine while it was running. That's it for today's trip around the patch. Let's get back to the rest of the news. Court dismisses Top Gun Maverick copyright claim. A federal appeals court has ruled that Top Gun Maverick did not violate a copyright of a magazine article about the Navy's fighter weapons school. The 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in California ruled that Top Gun Maverick was not similar enough to Ehud Yone's 1983 article, Top Guns, about the United States Navy Fighter Weapons School, for Paramount to have breached its 1983 agreement with the writer. The Central District of California previously dismissed the case in 2024. California Magazine published Top Guns, an 11-page article written by Yone in 1983, which described the fighter weapons school, later renamed the Strike Fighter Tactics Instructor Program, a Navy program that teaches advanced air combat tactics. Shortly after Top Guns was published, Yone granted Paramount Pictures all rights to the article, accepting a fixed payment with the condition that he would be credited in any movies substantially based upon or adapted from the article. Paramount credited Yone in the first movie, but following Yone's death in 2012, his widow and son took over the copyright and terminated the agreement with Paramount. 2 years later, in 2022, Paramount released Top Gun Maverick, a sequel to the original movie, which raked in $160.5 million in its first 4 days. Paramount did not compensate or credit the Yones, spurring the lawsuit. After these messages, 150-plus aircraft involved in U.S. raid on Venezuela.
The legendary BD-4C program is building an exciting future for those who want a rugged 4-seat family flyer with a proven history. The SureWings program produces a complete kit and builder assist program that gives you everything you need to be flying a BD-4CS in record time. For conventional kit builders, BD Aviation has parts, partial kits, and full kits for the 190-mile-per-hour BD-4C that has logged thousands of hours. Visit SureWings.com and BDAviation.com for more detail.
Welcome back. 150-plus aircraft involved in U.S. raid on Venezuela. A large-scale U.S. military operation unfolded before dawn on January 3rd, culminating in the capture of controversial President Nicolas Maduro and his wife. The post-strike debrief revealed just how tedious the mission, dubbed Operation Absolute Resolve, truly was. It involved more than 150 aircraft launched from roughly 20 bases across the Western Hemisphere. The air component began shortly after final authorization was given late the previous evening. F-22s, 35s and 18s, B-1s, E-2s, EA-18s, plus various helicopters and drones departed staging bases and naval platforms and headed toward Venezuelan airspace. Assault and extraction aircraft flew in at approximately 100 feet above the water to reduce radar exposure during the initial ingress phase. As helicopters neared the Venezuelan coast, a layered protection package was set up overhead. Fighters, bombers, and drones suppressed and neutralized Venezuela's air defense network enough to clear corridors toward Caracas. An unexpected crucial operational factor was the weather. The mission had waited 4 days for conditions to improve before finally, quote, the weather broke just enough, clearing a path that only the most skilled aviators in the world could maneuver through. Ocean, mountain, low clouds, ceilings, end quote, according to General Dan Kane, 22nd Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And that's our show for today. You can catch episodes of Airborne on YouTube, Roku, or Fire TV. Just search for Aero-News or Airborne. And don't forget to follow us on social media. Thanks for watching.